Well, can you believe it's already November? The year is almost over. And I've just been reflecting on all my travels this year and what's to come for next year already. And a lot of people have already started planning their trips, but maybe you haven't. And so I wanted to share today a little bit of what they're seeing through some research, through whether it's a travel blog or travel organization, or even hotels and travel industry are predicting certain trends. And I was looking at what last year's were, and they have changed this year. They're predicting a couple different things for 2026 as we look at, one thing for sure is although 28% they say of leisure travelers will take fewer trips in 2026 due to rising cost, or many may just be trimming back on how much they spend on travel or just being more selective. And even though the overall budgets are shrinking for travel, people are still wanting to travel. So don't be discouraged. You listen to that stat, and I know I'm not worried. I will definitely be traveling actually more in 2026 than I did in 2025. Are you one of those people that plans to travel more or less this coming year? Well, let me share with you some of these travel trends that are happening, that they're seeing more people gravitating toward this type or style of travel. So not necessarily specific destinations, and I may share some of that a little later in the year, but I wanted to share what's pulling people to travel a certain way. So I think the one thing that is still sort of carrying over from this year, and I'm going to kind of give it a broader title, is that wellness and purpose. But I'm saying wellness beyond the spa type wellness, not that kind of wellness, but maybe just well-being type of travel experiences like a digital detox. We're hearing a lot of people wanting, even Hilton said people are gravitating towards this silence. And that was actually one of the trends this past year, these silent travel or silent retreats. Again, places where they could break from distractions, maybe even a multi-day nature hike, or somewhere very remote that they could just unplug. And so I like to just say that's kind of more the unplugging type of travel that is beneficial to your well-being. And along with that, Hilton's 2026 Trends Report notices a shift to the focus along with that wellness, that it is being more intentional in your travel. So having a why to your travels. They call them why-cations. So I like that. Of course, I encourage that because as a travel coach, I do want your travels to be intentional. I want you to have a why behind them. And so if you're feeling a little burned out, so much distraction is happening and your mind just won't settle, maybe you could consider sort of this wellness, purposeful type of travel where you do maybe a digital detox, maybe you're in a remote location. Number 2, speaking of remote locations, they have found that 80% of travelers are considering doing a mountain getaway in 2026. So again, this is driven by sort of that quiet and peacefulness that people are looking for. There's a remoteness to it. There is this clean air. There's no noise likely, so noise pollution is gone. And just the whole idea of a mountain getaway, it's kind of cozy feeling for me, like a log cabin feel. Maybe you build a fire, and I just picture, snow. It doesn't have to be snow. You could go in the summertime, but I don't know about you, but that just kind of feels good. It's just comforting. And it also kind of reminds me of a Hallmark movie maybe. And I love Hallmark movies. So mountain getaways are on the rise. And I think that's fulfilling a little more of that, again, that wanting to be unplugged kind of feel, or just that coziness. I love that idea. Number 3, we're seeing slower travels. So what does that mean? Slow travels, not necessarily nomads. That is a whole nother category, but slower travels, meaning they are staying for 3 to 4 weeks, longer stays in one place. Now they're finding that this is common among these soon-to-be retirees, and they're taking little microdoses of these sort of retirement trips. But also, some of them are doing this as well to kind of investigate where they may want to actually retire. So they're spending a little extra time, weeks at a time, at these places, and it's slower travel, so they can get a feel for that place, really step into the culture. So in general, they're seeing more of that. The other thing they're seeing is off-peak adventuring. So I'm a big advocate of, I usually try to travel during the shoulder season. So let me explain. We have high season, of course, and in most cases, that's going to be summertime, or high season is when it's popular to go to that place. Then you have what's called shoulder season, which is right before or right after the high season. There's a little bit less crowds. The weather maybe is still, temperate weather, and it's a little less expensive than high season. But what they're saying is they're seeing a lot more people traveling in what they call off-peak. So this would be like, for example, maybe going to Denmark or Finland in the wintertime, or autumn in Japan. A lot of people like to go to Japan in the spring for the cherry blossoms, or in the summer, right? Or off-peak for a safari would actually be in the summertime. So people are doing that. It's less crowded, as you know, and it's less expensive. So off-peak adventuring, that sounds exciting. So number 5 is actually rail travel is being revived. And I'm talking, I have to say this, although Amtrak has sort of upped the ante, so to speak, in, updating some of their trains and the services that they provide during some of their services. It's honestly, I've done an Amtrak, several day trip. Love the idea of train travel. I really do. But unfortunately, American train travel really cannot even put a finger and just even come close to what you might find in other countries, particularly Europe, right? But we're looking also at more luxury rail travel is what I'm seeing a lot. So, the Blue Train is pretty popular. These are all luxury type of trips. They would be several days and beautiful accommodations inside the train and food. So the Blue Train goes, it's in South Africa, and it goes from Pretoria to Cape Town. There's also, of course, the Orient Express, also very decadent type of train. There's the Deccan Odyssey in India. So these are all very expensive, but truly worth it. You don't have to really lift a finger except book your train ride, and maybe if you need to book your flight to get there. So rail train, I like it because it's no nonsense kind of planning in that aspect. And then we're seeing, of course, this is not new. This has been going on for a while, and its maintained popularity is more solo travel. And of course, it's mostly us women that are doing these solo travels. But they're seeing women who maybe aren't necessarily, do solo travel a lot, expanding trips they already have planned, maybe with other people. So they're bookending their trips with some solo days. So whether it's before or after, or they're bookending, maybe they have a work trip. So they're going a few days before or after and, exploring as a solo traveler. Or maybe they're meeting family, so they're going a little bit before and meeting up with them later, or a group tour, same idea. So getting a little touch of that solo travel, but not for the whole time. So that's a great idea if you are maybe on the fence about solo travel yourself and, experimenting with that. And then finally, they are saying this is new, and I'm very excited about this idea of, they're calling it generational travel. And so this is where, of course, families would be traveling together, and they are, I'm not just talking like immediate family, but it might be more extended family. The grandparents, maybe in-laws are joining in the fun, and they're all coming together in one place to enjoy a vacation, some time together. And, maybe just renting a big house, getting an Airbnb so they all could be together. And noticing too that sometimes these generational travel where the families come together, they could be like adult children joining their parents again with maybe their kids, right? So more of that sort of extended family, and maybe returning to a place that they all went maybe as kids, kind of being a little nostalgic about maybe where they go, and, returning to those memories and creating new ones with now maybe their family or their extended family. So these are just some trends they're seeing here that are going to be coming about in 2026. I love some of these ideas, and I'm wondering what motivates you to travel and what gets you out there to adventure. Well, sisters, again, I just love doing these episodes where we kind of talk about those trends, giving you ideas or inspiration to do your thing. It doesn't have to fit into any of this, but what motivates you to travel? Last week's episode, I talked about the why. Why do you travel? Asking those questions. You're sitting down and asking and investigating. So I gave you a couple exercises that you could do if you want to go back and listen to last week's episode to help you determine, why do you want to go to a certain place, or why do you want to travel, which may help you determine where to go. Well, this weekend, there is a virtual travel summit. You can still get signed up, and I will leave the information in the show notes of this podcast. Please get signed up. I am one of the speakers, and I would love to have you listen, not just to me, but to the 19 other wonderful travel coach experts that will be on the summit, and that is happening November 15th. Get signed up, and I hope to see you there. Also, speaking of one of those trends, that wellness idea, this is the last opportunity pitch where you can get a discount on that wellness river cruise in Europe next year. And that is happening the end of August. And it is going out of Budapest and pretty much ending up going up the Danube River. So if you need more information on that, you can reach out to me at hello@CherylBeckEsch.com, and I will get you the information on how you can sign up. So right now, till the end of November, you can still get a $400 deposit will hold your spot. And then you don't need to pay for the rest of it until, I believe it's 90 days before you actually sail. So get on that trend of that whole wellness idea of traveling to better your physical, mental, and maybe emotional self, and join this lovely European river cruise. And we hope to see you there. Did this podcast inspire you to participate in a solo journey? Well, my hope is that all women 50 and up have the courage and opportunity to experience at least one solo trip in their lifetime. But maybe you're feeling stuck about trying it solo. With my one-on-one travel coaching program, I can help you have a transformative trip, especially for those who are needing healing. Go to my website, CherylBeckEsch.com, and check out the program. Travel is a wonderful vehicle to heal.